The same people who hoped you would break are now forced to watch you build. My dear chosen ones, lean in for a moment. This isn't a soft message, this isn't a gentle pep talk, and this definitely isn't a bedtime story. This is a verbal wake-up call wrapped in truth, grit, and psychological fire. You weren't built in comfort. You were forged under pressure, and the ones who thought they were watching you drown didn't realize they were actually witnessing your transformation. They underestimated your silence, misread your pauses, and celebrated too early, way too early. And now that you're rising, they're confused, nervous, and suddenly pretending like they never doubted you. But let's make something very clear. Pressure doesn't destroy chosen ones, it reveals them. You see, chosen ones, the world loves loud winners but fears quiet builders. They cheer for results but mock the process. They crave your glow but ignore your grind. It's funny how people once misjudged you simply because you refused to broadcast your battles, your breakdowns, your lessons, and your scars. But what they didn't understand was that silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. While they were talking, you were evolving. While they wanted crowds, you wanted clarity. While they sought validation, you sought alignment. And while they gambled with fear, you made the ultimate power move. You chose faith over fear, even when fear was sitting right next to you, whispering worst-case scenarios like they were facts. Chosen ones, before we continue, take a moment to support the very platform that's pouring strength, clarity, and boldness back into your spirit. If this message is already speaking to you, if it feels like it was written directly for you, then show your appreciation by liking this video and subscribing to the channel right now. Your support is what fuels our mission, keeps our voice strong, and allows us to create more powerful, life-shifting, mind-awakening content just like this. Every click, every comment, every share helps this community grow and reach others who need this same fire. Let's rise together, hit like and subscribe. Let's address the question that might be circling your mind. Why me? Why did I have to walk through struggle after struggle while others got to cruise through life like it was designed for their convenience? Because chosen ones are never built in wide, bright, easy highways. They are shaped in narrow, lonely, unlit alleys where no applause exists. You weren't meant to be average, you weren't designed to blend in, and you were never intended to break under pressure. Chosen ones become chosen through experience, not titles. Middle-of-the-road people can't handle heavy callings, heavy missions, or heavy responsibility. That is why life selected you for the harder chapters others were never mentally engineered to survive. And here's the part that hits even harder. While you were busy patching yourself back together with late-night courage, quiet tears, private affirmations, and keep going no matter what energy, someone influential, someone with power, with reach, with a voice that matters, was watching you. They weren't watching to laugh, to gossip, or to compete. They were studying you the way a strategist studies a rising threat, or a leader studies rare character. They didn't care about your highlight moments. They focused on your breaking points, because that's where true identity shows itself. People pretend well when it's sunny, but only the chosen maintain integrity during storms. While others observed you like entertainment, this influential individual studied you like evidence of resilience, self-control, emotional intelligence, inner stability, and leadership potential. They noticed something that most people never notice. Not your wins, but your response. Anyone can celebrate on a mountaintop, but only a chosen one can stand in a valley and say, "I'm not done yet." Your strength wasn't loud, but it carried weight. Your progress was slow, but it was real. You didn't crumble, you recalibrated. You didn't shout, you strategized. You didn't fight for a spotlight, you built your own light source. And now, chosen one, something is shifting. That influential observer, whoever they are, sees you not as a story, but as proof. They see a person who didn't need applause to move, who didn't need an audience to commit, and who didn't need approval to evolve. They see readiness, stability, and potential. They don't want to reward you out of pity. They want to reward you because you earned every ounce of respect with grit, consistency, and character that didn't fold. Your journey is no longer unnoticed. It's undeniable. So if fear ever whispers, "What if you fail?" respond the way chosen ones are wired to respond, "What if I win?" Chosen ones don't wait for permission. They walk like the reward is inevitable. And now, it finally is. Chosen ones, if this message is already hitting in places no ordinary motivation ever could, stay locked in with us. This space was built for minds and spirits like yours. Your support is not just engagement, it's a signal that you're aligned with growth, courage, and higher standards. So take a moment right now, tap like, subscribe, and drop the number 11 in the comments if you're ready to keep choosing faith over fear, no matter who doubts, watches, or underestimates. You are part of a rising group built from quiet resilience, not loud validation. And now, let's go deeper, because what comes next will feel exactly like the journey you've been secretly living. Number 1. Your silent strength was broadcasting a frequency only high-level minds could decode. Your quiet confidence was louder than every enemy's noise, and the right eyes picked up the signal. They planned for your silence to bury you, but instead it amplified you. My dear chosen ones, let me speak directly to the part of you that doesn't get enough credit. Not the loud, public, finished version of you, but the raw, unfiltered, quietly powerful version that exists behind closed doors. You may not shout your victories from rooftops, you may not broadcast your progress online, and you definitely don't need an audience to validate your worth. Yet somehow, despite all that silence, someone with real influence, real vision, and real discernment has felt your presence long before they ever knew your name. That alone should tell you that your energy carries more weight than your words ever needed to. Chosen ones, you have to understand something. True power rarely announces itself. Diamonds don't scream, they reflect. Fire doesn't ask for permission, it spreads, and stars don't wait for applause, they shine regardless. You were never trying to be the loudest voice in the room. You were simply becoming the strongest one without even realizing it. And while some people around you only respond to drama, gossip, or loud egos, someone with real depth was able to sense your presence the way skilled sailors can detect a storm before the first cloud appears. They didn't just hear you, they felt you. You might wonder, how could anyone notice me when I haven't even showcased my best yet? Because chosen ones transmit signals that can't be hidden. It's not about what you post, what you own, what you wear, or who praises you. It's about the vibration, the energy, the silent authority you carry when no one is watching. When most people are busy proving, you were busy becoming. When others were addicted to attention, you were addicted to growth. When some wanted to be seen, you wanted to be solid. That difference is not small, it's seismic. And here's what hits even harder. The people who underestimated you were looking for fireworks, not realizing you were lightning. Fireworks entertain for seconds. Lightning changes everything it touches permanently. Those around you may have mistaken your calmness for confusion, your silence for insecurity, your reflection for hesitation, or your distance for weakness. But someone influential saw it differently. They looked past the surface and recognized mental discipline, emotional control, and internal strength. Traits that are nearly extinct in a world obsessed with quick validation and shallow excitement. Chosen one, you weren't radiating noise. You were radiating signal, and not everyone is built with the sensitivity to decode it. Most people are tuned into chaos. They understand drama better than discipline, clout better than character, and attention better than authenticity. But someone with real insight, someone positioned higher than the average mindset, caught onto your frequency like a radar, detecting a rare aircraft flying above ordinary altitude. They recognize the stability behind your silence, the purpose behind your patience, the strategy behind your stillness. And while your enemies were busy misreading you, someone powerful was busy studying you, not like a joke, but like a case study. They recognized consistency where others saw confusion. They saw endurance where others assumed exhaustion. They saw alignment where others assumed isolation. They noticed that you didn't crumble when things got heavy. You adapted. You didn't chase validation. You chased clarity. You didn't perform strength, you embodied it. Let's address another question that might be whispering inside you. Why would someone influential be drawn to me without me doing anything grand? Because chosen ones don't need a stage to be impactful. Their presence alone shifts dynamics. True leadership is recognized before it is announced. Power is sensed before it is proven. And authenticity is valued long before it is celebrated. You didn't need promotional tactics, public applause, or exaggerated storytelling. Your journey spoke for you. Your resilience sent the message. Your emotional intelligence transmitted the signal. Your refusal to fold became your calling card. And while gossip travels fast, truth travels further. My dear chosen ones, you were never invisible. You were simply undiscovered. And now that the right person has detected your frequency, do not shrink, do not doubt, do not apologize. People who underestimated you were never meant to understand your wavelength. They were tuned to static, not to power. Always remember this. Noise fades, signal travels. Noise entertains, signal transforms. Noise is temporary, signal is legendary. And you, chosen one, were never noise. You were always signal. Number 2, you aced a life-altering test. You never knew you were taking. You aced a silent exam life never warned you about, and someone with power saw every score you didn't know you were earning. My dear chosen ones, listen closely, because this part will hit home in a way only survivors, warriors, and those who kept going with trembling hands will understand. Life tested you without instructions, without a study guide, without mercy, without a safety net, and without even acknowledging that you were being tested in the first place. No announcement, no preparation, no countdown. You were thrown straight into the fire, expected to either crumble like ash or rise like steel. And without even knowing it, you passed challenges that would have permanently damaged the average person. This wasn't a test you signed up for. This wasn't a test you volunteered for. It was a test life selected you for. And chosen ones don't get easy exams. They get the kind that rewrites character. While others were performing strength in public, you were living strength in private. While others were bragging about their wins, you were quietly fighting battles they never even recognized. You never got credit for holding yourself together while bleeding internally. You never received applause for taking the high road when revenge would have felt more satisfying. You never posted the moments where you were inches from giving up, but somehow still moved forward. Yet those moments, the ones you assumed were invisible, were actually your highest scoring achievements. You might ask yourself, if it was a test, why did no one tell me? Because chosen ones aren't trained through comfort. They are revealed through chaos. Real exams in life are not announced. They ambush you. They show up disguised as heartbreak, betrayal, isolation, loss, confusion, fake friendships, missed opportunities, or emotional exhaustion. These tests weren't designed to see how much you knew, but how much you could grow. They didn't measure your intelligence. They measured your resilience, your patience, your emotional discipline, your self-control, and your ability to remain grounded, even when everything around you encouraged panic. And here's what should strike you deeply, chosen one. While people around you were distracted by your struggle, someone influential was paying attention to your response. People with shallow minds saw drama. Someone with power saw discipline. People with jealousy saw weakness. Someone with influence saw wisdom. People waiting for you to break saw pressure. Someone who understands greatness saw preparation. They observed your ability to stay composed while your world felt like it was splitting at the seams. They noticed how you didn't let bitterness convert your character. They noticed how your values didn't crack even when your heart did. They noticed how you continued to choose hope over cynicism, restraint over explosions, and dignity over ego. This wasn't about being perfect, it was about being consistent. Chosen ones don't score points through perfection, they score points through integrity. Every silent sacrifice, every tear you wiped alone, every night you forced yourself to continue, every time you refused to betray your identity, every moment you said, "I will rise again," when you were still on the ground, all of it counted. And someone with the eyes, experience, and emotional intelligence to evaluate character over convenience saw it clearly. Understand this. The real test was never about what happened to you. It was about what you did about it. Anyone can choose integrity when it's easy. Anyone can choose patience when life is gentle. Anyone can choose calmness when nothing is shaking. But you, chosen one, maintained values when it cost you peace, reputation, sleep, and support. And that's when you unknowingly separated yourself from the crowd. Life wanted to see if you would harden or sharpen. You chose sharpening. And now, here is the twist. Someone with influence didn't just notice the battles you won, they noticed the type of person you became while winning them. They don't admire the drama of your story. They admire the discipline within it. They aren't impressed because you survived. They are impressed because you survived without losing yourself. Chosen one, the test is over. The scores are recorded, the results are in. You passed, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Someone powerful didn't just see what you endured, they saw what you proved. And what you proved has positioned you for opportunities, recognition, respect, and elevation that were never meant for the ordinary. Stand tall. Your results are speaking louder than your words ever needed to. Number 3. Your unbreakable core exposed who was real and who was just standing nearby. Your resilience unmasked pretenders and revealed the few who were truly built like you. There's a brutal but necessary truth that chosen ones eventually learn, not from books, not from advice, but from raw lived experience. Pressure is not just a test of strength, it's a spotlight. It doesn't just show what you are made of, it exposes everyone standing near you. And my dear chosen one, when life tightened around you, when your world felt like it was collapsing, when you were forced to operate with nothing but inner endurance and silent strength, that's when the masks around you began to crack. The loud supporters became quiet. The "I'm here for you no matter what" voices started glitching, and the people who once swore alliance suddenly couldn't remember your phone number. Your resilience wasn't just a survival trait, it was a mirror, and everyone who stood close to you was forced to see their own reflection in it. See, it's easy for people to clap when life is smooth for you, when you're shining, when your energy is overflowing, when your resources are flowing, and when your spirit feels light. Anyone can stand next to you then. It costs them nothing, but only the rare, loyal, elite few can stand beside you while you're at war with inner battles, external chaos, silent storms, and emotional hurricanes. Chosen ones don't truly discover people during celebration. They discover them in crisis. That's when envy hides behind advice, when ego hides behind jokes, when jealousy hides behind silence, and when fake loyalty hides behind distance. Chosen one, your endurance was never quiet, it was diagnostic. While others saw you fighting to stay afloat, someone influential was analyzing the reactions of the people around you. They saw who backed away the moment your value couldn't be used. They saw who became uncomfortable with your vulnerability because they only knew how to handle your strength. They saw who subtly enjoyed your setbacks, who waited for you to break, who wanted access to you only when you were shining, and who disappeared when you needed nothing more than simple humanity. Your resilience didn't just prove you were not ordinary, it forced truth to surface. The ones who clung to you, even when you had nothing to give, revealed that they understood your worth beyond benefit. The ones who kept supporting you when your life was not entertaining, inspiring, or beneficial revealed depth. The ones who stayed available without being asked revealed loyalty, and the ones who didn't flinch when you were at your emotional, mental, or material lowest revealed alignment. But the others, the ones who claimed love while you were winning and disappeared while you were hurting, revealed blindness. Not physical blindness, not intelligence blindness, but awareness blindness. They were unable to see your capacity, your evolution, your silent strength, your hidden potential, and the rare force inside you. They only recognized value in finished products, not in evolving greatness. They didn't realize storms don't destroy chosen ones, they sculpt them. Resilience is not merely surviving. Anyone can survive by luck or circumstance. Resilience is maintaining clarity while everyone expects you to spiral. It is staying true to your values while your environment tries to corrupt your character. It is walking forward even when you have every emotional excuse to quit. That kind of power is rare, and people with discernment notice it instantly. Someone influential has already acknowledged that you didn't break, you recalibrated. You didn't lose yourself, you refined yourself. You didn't seek revenge, you chose to evolve. They saw that you didn't let pain turn you bitter, disappointment turn you cold, loneliness turn you desperate, or betrayal turn you hateful. You faced dark seasons, but you didn't become darkness. Most people admire loud confidence, but those who operate at high levels respect quiet resilience, because resilience is not a personality trait, it's elite mental architecture. Your composure under emotional fire, your clarity in confusion, and your ability to remain authentic when life handed you reasons to turn ruthless became the proof someone powerful needed to confirm you are built differently. My dear chosen one, never forget this. Storms don't pull you down, they pull the truth up. Your strength didn't just carry you, it filtered your life. And while ordinary people were distracted by the chaos around you, the right person was focused on the character within you. That is why someone influential is now interested, not because you survived, but because you emerged with upgraded vision, sharper intuition, and unshakable identity. You are not becoming chosen. You were chosen all along. It just took resilience to reveal it. Number 4. Your quiet progress sent shockwaves that reached places your feet haven't touched yet. Your courage sent shockwaves into rooms you've never entered, and it reached the right eyes before you even knew you were being seen. Chosen ones, let's make something undeniably clear. When you operate from courage instead of fear, even in silence, you are not just surviving your life, you are broadcasting through it. Every choice you made, every night you held yourself together while the world slept peacefully. Every morning you got up with shaking hands but steady intention. Those weren't small private battles. They were impact events, silent earthquakes that sent invisible tremors into places, networks, and minds you didn't even know existed. And while you thought no one noticed, Someone with influence, reach, and discernment felt the effects of your resilience long before life ever puts you on the same stage. The world has taught you that only loud, dramatic, heavily promoted success gets recognized. Yet here you are, a living contradiction, proving that the most powerful impact is often the quietest. You didn't shout your progress. You didn't brag about your growth. You didn't create a presentation to display your strength. You lived it. You embodied it. You allowed it to shape you without needing applause to validate it. That is why the ripple effect hit places you never touched. Because authentic power doesn't need advertisement. It needs alignment. Chosen ones, hear this deeply. Your courage did not stay inside your chest. Every time you chose courage over panic, vision over comfort, growth over ego, purpose over chaos, you sent out a signal that only people with depth can recognize. While most people respond only to noise, brokenness, gossip, and trends, your energy bypassed the shallow and traveled straight to someone built to understand strength that requires no stage. They didn't need to hear your voice to recognize your value. They sensed it the way skilled observers sense potential before reputation forms. Think about what you endured. You chose courage even when exhaustion was your loudest emotion. You chose forward movement when confusion fogged every mental pathway. You stayed committed when your heart felt empty and your motivation felt dehydrated. Those decisions didn't dissolve into thin air. They became proof that you are built differently. You thought you were just trying to survive another day, but your endurance was actually inspiring someone else's belief in human potential. While you were fighting to stay intact, you didn't realize you were also mentoring someone silently through your actions. Someone who never had access to your private life, but somehow caught the vibration of your becoming. This influential observer, whoever they are, has seen enough people break under inconvenience, not even pressure, to recognize real endurance when it stands before them. They've witnessed countless individuals collapse under imagined stress, beg for shortcuts, or sell out for approval. So when your strength entered their awareness, it struck differently. You weren't performing. You weren't campaigning for praise. You weren't painting a false narrative. You were simply becoming unbreakable one day, one decision, one scar at a time. That authenticity is magnetic to the kind of people whose vision extends beyond appearances. Chosen ones, listen. There are two types of strength in this world: borrowed strength and built strength. Borrowed strength copies inspiration. Built strength survives transformation. The influential person who noticed you didn't respond to your image, they responded to your substance. They recognized that your strength wasn't inherited, gifted, or staged. It was earned through emotional hurricanes, mental battles, and spiritual droughts that would have destroyed someone less chosen. They didn't see a lucky person. They saw a reborn one. And here's what hits hardest. You didn't need anyone to witness it for it to matter. That's what separates you. You kept your character intact when no applause, no promise, no reward was guaranteed. You stood tall not because someone was watching, but because you refused to let life turn you into something you weren't. While others accepted bitterness as identity, you chose evolution. While others sought sympathy, you sought strategy. While others collapsed into excuses, you expanded into purpose. The ripple effect you created is not accidental. It is the natural consequence of internal strength meeting external alignment. You weren't trying to be inspirational, but you became evidence. You weren't trying to be admired, but you became undeniable. You weren't trying to be selected, but you became remembered. My dear chosen ones, always remember this. Real power doesn't echo where noise gathers. It travels where truth matters. And your courage traveled. It reached someone who recognizes value. And soon it will return, not as validation, but as reward. Number 5. your private discipline has triggered public opportunities you haven't even met. The discipline you practiced in silence is about to become the reason your name enters rooms without you. My dear chosen ones, what you did behind closed doors is worth more than anything you could have ever posted, announced, or showcased publicly. Anyone can pretend to have strong values when people are watching, but very few can stand firm in their principles when there are no eyes to impress, no applause to earn, and no validation waiting at the end. You didn't make good decisions because somebody would clap for you. You made them because you refused to become a watered-down version of yourself. You didn't stay disciplined for attention. You stayed disciplined because you cared about who you were becoming more than who people believed you were. The world sees outcomes, but chosen ones always build from character, not convenience. There were moments, chosen one, when you had every reason to fold, when shortcuts looked tempting, when the fast lane offered easy rewards, when temporary wins tried to seduce you into abandoning your long-term identity, but you didn't betray yourself. You didn't choose what glittered, you chose what was right for your evolution. You honored your own standards, even when nobody would have known if you didn't. While others were chasing applause, you were refining your inner structure. While some people wanted the crown, you put in the work to deserve it. That quiet discipline became your superpower, and whether you realize it or not, someone influential noticed your rare level of integrity, not because you advertised it, but because real ones can detect authenticity without needing proof. Chosen ones are not validated in public first, they are validated in private through choices that nobody hears about. Your loyalty to who you wanted to become has built a reputation that speaks for you when you're not even present. Think about that. Your name has started entering rooms that your physical presence hasn't even reached yet. That is not luck. That is the ripple effect of silent consistency. Ordinary people only focus on the harvest. Chosen ones focus on planting seeds correctly, even when it feels slow, invisible, unrewarded, or lonely. So, if you ever wondered, did those private decisions really matter? The answer is yes. They became the blueprint of who you are now and the magnet for what's coming toward you. Understand this. Most people want success, but they don't want the process that shapes the backbone required to keep it. They want elevation, but not self-regulation. They want recognition, but not self-development. But you, chosen one, proved something rare. That you are not hungry for spotlight. You are hungry for alignment. You don't want an opportunity you're not mentally and emotionally mature enough to sustain. You would rather build slowly and correctly than build fast and regret it later. That kind of internal leadership is what separates chosen ones from those who merely wish to be chosen. Your life started shifting the moment you decided to be honest with yourself, even when no one else would have noticed a lie. And let's address the inner doubt that sometimes whispers, was it worth it? Did I miss out by choosing discipline? Did I lose time while others played the game? No, chosen one. You didn't lose time, you invested it. You didn't fall behind, you built ahead. You didn't miss out, you locked in. While others were stacking moments, you were stacking character. And character is the currency that never depreciates, never expires, and never bends under pressure. This is why someone influential has been quietly observing you, admiring not your accomplishments, but the psychology, patience, and restraint behind them. They don't see you as potential. They see you as prepared. Your silent discipline has activated something powerful, an unseen momentum. Just because you haven't witnessed the full payoff yet doesn't mean it's not already unfolding. Some rewards don't appear until the right version of you has arrived to handle them without sabotaging them. The truth is, chosen ones don't just grow, they grow correctly. And that is what makes them impossible to replace, replicate, or overlook. Keep your head up, chosen one. Your private victories have built a public future that will speak for you louder than any announcement ever could. Number 6. You didn't collapse under pressure. You evolved into someone too powerful to misread. Pressure didn't break you. It sculpted you into someone not meant to be ignored. My dear chosen ones, pay attention. If there is one thing that separates you from the masses, it is the way you respond when life stops being gentle. Most people pray for sunshine and complain when storms arrive, but you learned how to turn lightning into fuel. You never crumbled, even when life pressed down on you like 1,000 expectations, 1,000 disappointments, and 1,000 silent battles happening simultaneously. And here's the twist that nobody saw coming. Someone influential, someone who knows how to evaluate character without being fooled by appearances, has been quietly studying how you respond under pressure. And what they saw wasn't fragility, it was transformation. They saw someone who didn't freeze when life demanded evolution, someone who refused to be defeated just because a chapter tried to suffocate them. While others broke down, you broke open. Chosen ones, pressure has always been the lie detector of the human soul. It exposes what confidence hides, reveals what smiles cover, and uncovers the truth underneath every facade. The average person panics, withdraws, or looks for someone else to blame. They crumble because they never learned how to stand when the ground beneath them shifts without warning. But you were wired differently. You taught yourself how to adapt without losing yourself, how to bend without snapping, and how to rebuild without announcing a demolition. When pressure entered your life, it didn't frighten you. It activated you. You didn't see adversity as a dead end. You saw it as a warning that a new version of you was demanding to be born. That mindset alone placed you in a category few will ever reach. And while the people around you underestimated your quiet resilience, someone with power recognized it instantly, because real leaders can smell mental strength the way a trained pilot can sense turbulence before instruments pick it up. They noticed how you didn't allow setbacks to sabotage your self-worth. They noticed that even when disappointment punched you in the stomach, you didn't sit on the floor and cry for rescue. You exhaled, wiped your face, recalculated, and continued walking like the road had no authority to end you. You didn't allow circumstances to stain your dignity, and that is the mark of rare internal discipline. This person saw how you handled emotional pressure without exploding, how you handled financial pressure without giving up, how you handled social pressure without selling your authenticity for approval. Chosen one's transformation is not proven by perfection, it is proven by evolution. When the average person fell apart, you rebuilt your identity brick by brick, even if your hands were shaking. You replaced panic with problem solving, replaced self-pity with self-mastery, and replaced breakdowns with breakthroughs. Most people look for shortcuts to escape discomfort, but you allowed discomfort to educate your instincts, sharpen your reasoning, and refine your standards. You learned how to think, not react, how to respond, not collapse, how to analyze, not internalize. You became the upgraded version of yourself, not because life was kind, but because you refused to leave any version of yourself behind. This influential observer, whoever they are, understands that anyone can look confident when nothing hurts, nothing fails, and nothing goes wrong. Confidence in comfort is common, but consistency in chaos? That is rare. They saw your strength not in your victories, but in your reactions to uncertainty, and that told them everything they needed to know. You are not someone who can be easily manipulated, intimidated, or mentally disassembled. You don't require perfect conditions to perform. You create performance from whatever conditions you are given. And now, chosen one, whether you realize it or not, your resilience has transformed into credibility. Someone influential didn't just admire your survival. They respect your evolution. They see someone who can handle high-pressure environments, long-term projects, bigger responsibilities, and opportunities that require emotional intelligence, not just ambition. To them, you are not a gamble. You are an investment with proven psychological durability. You didn't fold, you didn't fade, and you didn't flee. You forged. Growth is your instinct, not your emergency plan, and that is why they see you as ready for more. Remember this: pressure didn't change you into who you are, it revealed who you always were. And now, chosen one, someone powerful knows it too. Number 7. Your identity holds an authentic signature. No copy-paste personality could ever mimic. Your identity holds a signature. No imposter can copy. The real can't be replicated. My dear chosen ones, listen closely, because this truth separates the few who are authentic from the masses who only perform strength. Anyone can copy your vocabulary, mimic your style, borrow your tone, imitate your attitude, and even rehearse confidence in front of others, but no one can duplicate your essence. There is a difference between those who look chosen and those who are built chosen. There is a difference between those who speak from imagination and those who speak from experience. There is a difference between those who memorize motivational language and those who survived what they are talking about. Chosen ones do not earn their identity through appearance. They prove it through endurance. You see, chosen ones, the world is full of people who audition for a role they never lived. They talk like warriors, but have never seen a battlefield. They repeat words like purpose, alignment, vision, and faith, but collapse when tested. Their strength is a costume, yours is a consequence. They crave the image, you carry the imprint. They want to be seen as rare, you simply are. You didn't learn wisdom by studying quotes. You learned it by surviving seasons that almost turned you into someone you promised you'd never become. Others practiced looking unshakable. You earned your stability by rebuilding yourself piece by piece when nobody was coming to save you. That, chosen one, is the signature no imitator can access. There is a certain presence you carry, not because you force it, but because life sculpted it into you. People who haven't been through anything real try to match your energy, but cracks show when pressure arrives. They can mimic tone, but not soul frequency. They can copy your confidence, but not the journey behind it. They can imitate your posture, but not your scars. The world can steal your ideas, but it can never steal your story, your depth, your resilience, or your transformation, because those are earned, not borrowed. Chosen ones, you must understand that authenticity is not a performance. It is a condition of identity. It cannot be purchased, taught, or staged. You carry what others chase, and you embody what others pretend to represent. You didn't craft a persona. You built character. You didn't memorize strength. You survived your own breaking points. You didn't follow trends. You became your own standard. That is why your presence commands a different type of attention, even when you're not trying to be noticed. And here's the part that makes this even more powerful. Someone influential, someone with real perception, caught your signature long before others understood it. They scanned past superficial traits, skipped over material indicators, ignored who you did or didn't impress publicly, and went straight to the evidence. Your evolution, your endurance, and how you responded when life demanded more than you had. They didn't see noise, they saw authentic power. They didn't see hype, they saw consistency. They didn't see trends, they saw substance. And substance, chosen one, is the highest currency in elite spaces. You probably never noticed when it happened because your intention was never to be admired. You were simply trying not to give up on yourself. While people looked for perfection, someone influential saw perseverance. While others compared timelines, someone influential studied patterns. While the average mind asked, "What do they have?" this person asked, "How are they built?" They noticed that your confidence was not inflated by external praise. It was assembled through internal rebuilding. They realized you were not motivated by ego. You were motivated by purpose and survival. They didn't label you as lucky. They recognized you as legitimate. You didn't rise because you wanted attention. You rose because you refused to be defeated. That is the kind of identity that cannot be faked, duplicated, or reverse engineered. Chosen one, understand this final truth. When you are real, you do not compete. You are automatically set apart. Imposters disappear when the test begins. Pretenders fold when the environment gets harsh. But chosen ones, they evolve, elevate, and emerge stronger every single time. You are not impressive because you speak like someone who made it. You are impressive because you survived what was meant to break you. Keep walking. Your signature is your proof, and the right people already recognize it. Number 8. You escaped emotional depths that most never return from and still came back sharper. You escaped depths that were designed to break you, and now your strength speaks louder than any biography. Chosen ones, listen closely, because this part of your story is not just inspiring, it's almost unbelievable when spoken out loud. You have walked through emotional, mental, and psychological terrains that most people never come back from. Not because you were fearless, not because life was fair, and definitely not because someone carried you, but because something deep within you refused to let your ending be written by circumstances that were designed to break you. You didn't just survive, you returned with wisdom, power, clarity, and depth that can't be imitated. And whether you realize it or not, someone influential has already noticed that rare form of resilience radiating from you. Chosen ones, there are experiences that permanently alter people, heartbreaks that dissolve their identity, betrayals that distort their trust, losses that steal their hope, and disappointments that freeze their growth. Some people go through certain seasons and never come back as the same version of themselves, but you didn't just come back, you came back upgraded. You went to the bottom, but you didn't drown. You learned to breathe underwater. You faced darkness, but instead of becoming it, you extracted lessons, strength, and emotional armor from it. That is not normal. That is not common. That is not something that can be taught. That is proof that you are built differently, chosen differently. People around you have no idea how hard it was to hold your mind together when your emotions were falling apart. They don't know how much self-control it took to stay silent when you could have snapped. How much discipline it took to keep moving when your heart was dragging behind you, or how many times you had to be your own rescue team because nobody showed up. You didn't rise because the path was smooth. You rose because you refused to stay where pain tried to bury you. You clawed your way out, even when your hands were shaking, even when your thoughts betrayed you, even when your tears blurred the way forward. Chosen ones, some people recover only halfway. They survive, but they lose themselves in the process. They become closed, bitter, numb, or permanently guarded. But you didn't lose your heart. You reshaped it. You didn't lose your empathy. You intensified it with boundaries. You didn't lose your identity. You refined it with purpose. That transformation is rare, dangerous, and valuable, and people who operate with real insight can sense it like heat from a flame. And now, someone influential, someone with reach, respect, power, and decision-making authority, has taken silent notice of you. Not because you begged, not because you advertised your struggle, not because you performed your pain online, but because your energy tells your story without needing words. Some people talk about suffering, but you carry the resume of survival in your presence, posture, choices, and emotional intelligence. They didn't see you as broken. They saw you as battle-tested. They didn't see trauma. They saw transformation. They didn't see chaos. They saw character. Chosen ones, let's address the voice in your head that might whisper, "Why would anyone care about my journey?" Because influence recognizes substance, leaders recognize endurance. High-caliber individuals recognize someone who has been through real storms and still stands like they were carved from unshakable material. You are not interesting because you suffered. You are compelling because you evolved. You didn't come back with revenge. You came back with vision. You didn't come back with bitterness. You came back with boundaries. You didn't come back with fear. You came back with mastery. Someone influential sees in you what most people overlook. You are not simply alive, you are awakened. Your presence doesn't scream, yet it demands respect. Your silence doesn't indicate weakness, but internal control. Your past didn't shatter you, it sculpted you. Chosen ones, remember this. There are people who fear failure, and there are people who fear success. But you faced both and turned both into fuel. That is why you stand out. That is why you are chosen. That is why someone powerful is drawn to you, not out of sympathy, but out of recognition. They see the type of individual who rises without applause, grows without validation, and rebuilds without witnesses. You are not who you were supposed to be according to your pain. You are who you decided to become despite it. And that, chosen one, is the rarest form of victory. Number 9. Your calm response exposed every hidden opponent long before you needed proof. When your calm became a spotlight and every hidden enemy exposed themselves without you saying a word. Chosen ones, listen closely, because what you're about to realize may finally help you understand why certain people switched on you, why some turned cold without warning, why unexpected betrayal hit you from the places you trusted most, and why life felt like one strategic ambush after another. You didn't just survive chaos, you watched it organize itself around you like a silent stage play, revealing its villains in slow motion. What looked like random setbacks was actually your evolution pulling masks off faces that never deserved access to your truth. And the most powerful part? You didn't have to expose anyone. They did it themselves, driven by envy, insecurity, and fear they could no longer disguise in your presence. Dear chosen one, the moment you decided to choose faith over fear, not in a religious sense, but as a mindset, something shifted energetically. People began to realize that their manipulation, intimidation, silent control tactics, or psychological games couldn't touch you. You became an emotional fortress, not because you were armored with aggression, but because you were grounded, observant, and unmoved. Your silence was not weakness, it was a mirror. And those who carried hidden agendas couldn't handle their own reflection once they saw it staring back. You may have wondered, why did they turn on me when I was genuine? Why did they envy me when I wished them well? Why did they try to harm what I never used against them? Because your presence revealed who they were trying so hard not to be. When a chosen one enters a room, their spirit doesn't align with deception, jealousy, competition, or insecurity. It exposes it, not with confrontation, but with contrast. Your light didn't judge them. It simply made their shadows too visible for them to hide in. And people who live in shadows despise anything that makes honesty unavoidable. What you thought was life falling apart was actually life clearing the stage. One by one, people showed their true intentions, not because you provoked them, but because they couldn't maintain their masks under the weight of your integrity. You didn't clap back, you didn't prove your innocence, you didn't fight to protect your reputation, because chosen ones don't waste energy on defending what stands on its own. You chose silence, not because you were powerless, but because you knew power doesn't panic. And that silence, that composure, became your greatest weapon. While your enemies expected you to react, retaliate, or collapse, you chose stillness. And stillness is uncomfortable for people who thrive on chaos. Their own actions became the evidence. Their words became their confession. Their behavior became their downfall. What they meant to destroy you with actually became the blueprint that exposed them. And while they laughed, gossiped, plotted, exaggerated, or misrepresented you, someone influential, someone emotionally intelligent, experienced, or strategically positioned was watching, quietly, intentionally, and analytically. This observer didn't pay attention to the noise. They studied patterns. Patterns never lie. Your self-control, your emotional maturity, your consistent character, your refusal to react impulsively. That is what caught their attention. In a world full of people addicted to attention, you chose restraint. In a society obsessed with clapbacks, you chose elevation. In an era fueled by instant reactions, you chose composure. That is not basic emotional regulation. That is high-level personal discipline. To those with power, positions, networks, or influence, restraint is not boring. It is elite behavior. It shows readiness. It shows leadership. It shows that you operate from clarity, not ego. And chosen ones, this is why someone influential is now drawn to you, not because of what you went through, but because of how you handled it. Your endurance became proof, your consistency became data, your behavior became credibility, your calm became authority. You didn't just survive sabotage, you exposed it without ever lowering yourself to fight like the people who attacked you. And now, the influential observer doesn't just see a survivor. They see a strategic thinker, someone who can be trusted, someone who is built for bigger environments where emotional intelligence matters more than titles, looks, or loud confidence. Chosen ones, understand this. When you choose faith over fear, especially during betrayal, slander, or manipulation, you automatically separate yourself from the masses. Your strength didn't come from fighting. It came from refusing to become what tried to break you. And now that the truth is visible, someone with authority recognizes exactly who you are, and they are taking mental notes. This wasn't chaos. This was confirmation. You weren't losing people. You were losing obstacles, and the right person saw everything. And now, chosen ones, as we reach the end of this message, take a breath and recognize what you've just heard, not as motivation, but as personal confirmation. Your journey was never random, your strength was never accidental, and your growth was never silent. It was simply heard by the right ears. If this resonated with your inner truth, show your alignment by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and commenting 77 below, so I know you're part of this rising wave. And don't keep this energy to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to remember who they are becoming.